So there's this guy on YouTube, his name is Aaron Clary. A few of you guys might have heard on him. I've heard of him. I think he's mildly interesting. I don't agree with him on a lot of issues, but, you know, he's somewhat interesting. Now, if you see here, this man has a blog called Captain Capitalism. Now, keep that in mind, because Aaron Clary also has a video series called The Clary Test. Now, I'm going to play you a few videos. The first one will be the Clary Test on Bernie Sanders. Now, of course, again, this man calls himself Captain Capitalism, so I'm going to assume that he doesn't like Bernie Sanders all that much. And I'm just going to let the video play until he starts doing the test, and I'm going to cut to the end of it, okay? So, just enjoy.
You're such an asshole!
AssholeConsulting.com. We are going to do a Clary test on somebody that you could probably already have the answer to. And I remember looking at this guy before. And that is Bernie Sanders. Now, from what I remember, Bernie Sanders is the son of a carpenter or something like that, a blue-collar guy. And then he went into the union. I think he worked 23 seconds in the private sector. And then at like 18 wanted to run for city council and all that. And has ever since, for the past, what is he, how old is he? Beep-be-deep-be-doo, boop-be-deep-be-dee, born 41, baby boomer fuck. So 41, 18, let's just say 20, 60, 1960, God almighty. Fucker has been in public office for 60 years. What the fuck? And I know, you intelligent, you so open-minded, you're smarter than everybody else. Fucking millennials and leftists in general think that, like he was the not establishment candidate. I say, yeah, about the only person who could be more establishment than Bernie Sanders would have been Hillary Clinton. Like, you had to be married to and sucking the dick of a president, although I doubt she's even seen. Well, I guess she must have. Chelsea's around. Maybe she closed her eyes. What is it? But that's the only way. You know, the fact you left this thing, Bernie Sanders is not establishment. Holy shit. You are proof positive that the world, that you should not work hard and tell people truth. There are so many dupes and suckers out there that you should just become a Democrat politician and lie to these sheep. And so Bernie Sanders is indeed this wolf in sheep's clothing you guys lined up. You lined up to buy this slop. Sucker born any minute. All right, so let's.
Okay, so notice in that clip, in the entire first 2 minutes and 20 seconds, about 2 and the third minutes, that he clearly has a lot of issues with Bernie Sanders. Again, he runs a blog called Captain Capitalism. It's clear he had an issue with a self-identified socialist. He really is, and he's close to a social democrat. So I'm going to let him explain the Clary test, and I'm going to cut out where he's actually doing the test and just cut to the results, okay?
Let's do the Clary test on Bernie Sanders. Remember, it is a 4-question test, and you want to score 0 points, because a score of 0 means you are a great person and someone that you probably would trust to run for office. And then also the secondary test is that, would you like to have a beer with this guy? So, let's take a look at whether he comes from money.
Okay, basically the test is whether or not you came from money, what your degree was if you went to a college, whether or not you're working in the private sector right now, or the private sector right now, and whether or not you've worked in the private sector before. Now, of course, Aaron Clary seems to make an exception with jobs that are dangerous, like policemen or firefighters or military, things like that. But usually he's not a fan of people in public sector. So here's him after the results. Remember, you don't want to get points.
He's got a solid 3. It's kind of sad that he came from relatively humble beginnings and he didn't learn anything.
Now, anyone who knows anything about Bernie Sanders would know, wait, didn't he work in the private sector for at least a while? Again, it wasn't that long, but yeah, he did work in the private sector somewhat. And Clary actually mentions this in the video, and it's like, nah, I'm not going to count that. So the test was already biased in a way that Bernie Sanders would intentionally get a lower score. Okay? And again, listen to how much he seems to dislike Bernie Sanders just in these clips.
But you could tell right off the bat, this guy had no desire to work a real job. He had no desire to support himself. And you sheep, you paid the taxes to let it happen with this guy because he promised you free shit. The guy gets a 3. I believe there's probably an element of honesty among Bernie Sanders that he was honest about being a socialist. At least he's got that going for him. But this guy is a lazy, parasitic fuck. He has produced nowhere near the value that he has consumed in society. Nowhere near. But you know what? You kids are edgy because you're going to vote for Uncle Bern. All right, that's all we got. If you guys got...
Okay, so clearly, again, he doesn't like Bernie Sanders. Now, again, a solid 3. You'd have to be hard-pressed to find an American politician, especially, say, an American Republican politician, who Aaron here seems to hate as much as Bernie Sanders. You know, there are probably some people out there like Obama or Pelosi that he considers on the same level. Well, actually, here is him doing a Clary test on Mitch McConnell. Now, the first minute and a half is nothing more than just some jokes. They're actually kind of funny. I'd recommend watching. Again, I will never say Aaron Clary is not at least funny. I disagree with him a lot on political views, but he is decently funny. So here's him just talking about Mitch McConnell before he gets started.
No education bubble, and any degree is a good degree. All right, let's continue on. Stephen writes, "Hey, Captain. Repeat customer. I'd like to do a video administering the Clary test to Mitch McConnell. He is a Republican from my home state of Kentucky, and he has been in office longer than I've been alive, so I know you'll be a fan. Sarcasm never works well when written, does it? Let me know your price. Have a great day, Steve." Well, I will. So, let's look up Mitch McConnell. And he is he the, what's it called, the Senate Majority Leader? Yeah, he has been Senate Majority since, okay. So, I can already tell you. And what's his net worth? $17 million on some pay? All right, you can just look at this fuck. I hate him politically because he has no balls. It's actually a woman dressed in drag. I don't know if you knew that about Mitch McConnell. He's a woman. But let's put the test to test anyway. All right, Mitch McConnell. The 4 questions we're going to ask of him is, what is your degree? If it's a worthless degree, you get a point. You don't want points on this test. Do you come from rich parents? If you come from rich parents, you get a point. You don't want points on this test. Do you have any private sector real-world experience? That includes being a cop, fireman, or military, even though those are public sector. If you have experience, you don't get a point. If you don't have experience, real-world experience, you do get a point. And then what are you currently doing now? And I wonder if Mitch McConnell, Mitch the bitch, is going to get a fucking point there. So let's go through with this worthless fucking ballless pussy.
Okay, so already he hates McConnell. Then about 7-ish minutes in, the test is done. Here's what he has to say.
So he got a BA in 1964. McConnell began interning for Senator John Sherman Cooper in 1964. Boom! Right off the bat. Inspired him to run for Senate, eventually himself. Later, McConnell was assistant to senator. All right, so, worthless degree. Never worked a real job. Currently never worked a real job. And comes from a 3.5. That's a horrible score. I think only Barack Obama has a worse score, Nancy Pelosi, because they did come knowingly from wealth. Whereas Mitch McConnell's dad sounded like he actually worked a little bit for a living. And Mitch wasn't born with a silver spoon in his mouth, more pewter. But at least he had a spoon in his mouth. Yeah, this cocksucker, and it should be no surprise, this guy's not faced challenge. This guy's not faced hardship. He has not faced any real hurdles to overcome. All right? He's just, I mean, look at him. He's fucking soft. He's fucking soft. This guy made it into fucking, he's the fucking Senate Majority Leader. And you wonder why Obamacare couldn't get turned over. Because you have this ballless pussy as the fucking main guy of the Republican Party in the Senate. We knew this was going to be. I mean, his actions and behaviors is that of a coward and a weakling and a wimp. All right? And I'm not saying that to insult you or get you upset. I'm saying to be descriptive to you, Senator. You are a fucking pussy. All right? You failed the country. You're just pathetic. You're not a man. You're a pathetic excuse for him. You're sad. You're just a sad sack of shit. All right? But we all knew this. We didn't have to go and investigate his background because the guy, he just bent over and spread his ass cheeks a little bit more for Obama to fuck him up the ass. Because he was too busy fucking the American people up the ass. Because he's Mitch fucking McConnell. Anyway, that's what happens when you get a kid named Addison and you vote for him. All right? You guys got questions on the Clary's test?
Okay, so wow. Just a reminder, again, this guy has a blog called Captain Capitalism. He is clearly a very libertarian, right-wing YouTuber. He gave Bernie Sanders 3 points, which isn't good. That's horrible. Mitch McConnell got 3.5. That's half a point more. Again, this is something I find amazing, because even when a lot of people think, oh, wow, Bernie Sanders is the most popular politician, what, you think all Republicans are like? No, I don't. I know there are definitely some conservatives who don't like Bernie Sanders. But even the people who don't like Bernie Sanders, most of them can rationalize, nah, Mitch McConnell is awful. Which makes sense. He's the least popular politician in the country. And everyone knows that. And keep in mind, I admit I'm biased when I say Bernie is better than Mitch McConnell. Because I am a liberal. I consider myself a decently progressive person. So I am already somewhat biased. This man is biased in the opposite direction. And again, he still panned Bernie Sanders. But he panned Mitch McConnell even harder. And that is amazing to me. And that is it. I am Ephrom, and good night.